Hi everyone. So welcome back to our auditing series, and today's topic is auditors consideration on internal control. So what are the things auditor considers while performing the internal control? This is quite a big chapter, so I will cut the different topics and upload it on the YouTube so you can have a look on the different topics. So firstly to begin with, what is internal control? Like what is objective? The auditor must obtain the sufficient understanding of the entity and its environment, including the internal control, to assess the risk of the material misstatement of the financial statement, whether due to fraud or error, and to design the nature, action, and timing of the further audit procedure. So let's bifurcate the important points here. So to obtain the sufficient understanding of entity and its environment, including internal control, to assess the risk of the material misstatement, which may be due to fraud and error, to identify, to design the nature, action, and timing of the further audit procedure. So this is the base for the auditor's consideration for internal control, so that the further audit procedures can be designed and worked on. So here for the non-issuers, which are non-issuers means the company which are not listed on the stock exchange, not on the stock exchange. For those companies, auditor expression on the opinion of the internal control is not required. So auditor should only provide the opinion on the financial statements or not on the internal controls. But auditor is required to perform the risk assessment procedure. So here we need to understand that internal control and risk assessment procedure both are different things. And for the non-issuers, opinion on the internal control is not required. However, understanding the risk assessment and performing further audit procedures is required, is necessary. So, in risk assessment procedure, auditor assess the risk of material misstatement and understand the detection risk and design the nature, action, and timing for the further audit procedures. So here, as I said, that the internal control, performing the test of control is optional and it is not mandatory for the auditors. However, the auditor generally performs test of the controls for non-issuers in the two circumstances. First, if the substantive tests alone are not sufficient, like there are certain IT environments where all the transactions are processed through IT system and no documentation is required. This may be one of the scenario where auditor may perform the internal control even if it is a non-issuer company. Another reason can be auditors RMM assessment include the exception that internal control are effective. Like exception, while as understanding the RMM, auditor understands that internal control are not effective, then he or she may perform the internal control to gain the comfort over the controls of the organization. So here, even the auditor does not provide the assurance on the internal control, the auditor should report all the significant deficiencies and material weakness on the internal control. Even non-issuers may opt for integrated audit. So integrated audit means audit of the financial statement and audit of the internal control on the financial reporting. So here non-issuers like non-issuing company, non-listed company may opt for that. That is totally optional and it's not mandatory. So I hope you got this, you understood this. Now for the issuers, for the companies which are listed in the stock exchange, opinion on the financial statement and internal control both are required to be performed. So it is required to perform integrated audit for the listed companies and to provide the opinion to the clients on the financial statement as well as effectiveness of the internal control of financial reporting. Although the objective of the audit of the financial statement and ICFR are not same, the objectives are totally different. In ICFR, we understand the controls, and in FS, we are more on assertions level. The auditor plan and perform the integrated audit to achieve the respective objective. So, integrated audit is planned in detail to achieve certain objectives, such as to obtain the sufficient appropriate audit evidence to support the opinion on the ICFR and to support the auditor's control risk or risk of material misstatement for the purpose of the financial statement. So these are the objectives where ICFR is designed to gain the comfort, to gain the understanding of the business, and to gain the comfort over the risks that may exist in the client's side. So what's the management responsibility and what's the auditor responsibility here in ICFR? So management is responsible for designing, implementing and maintaining. Designing, maintaining and implementing of ICFR. So to design, to maintain and to implement the controls to have certain internal integrated control on the financial reporting is the responsibility of the management, whereas auditor is only responsible to provide the opinion on effectiveness, how much ICFR is effective in the company or not. So auditor is responsible to provide opinion on the effectiveness, and management is responsible to design, implement and maintain the ICFR in their company. So it was a role of the management and auditor. So I hope you understood the case where of the issuers where we provide the opinion on both a financial statement and ICFR. So this was all about the audits of the non-issuer and audits of the issuer. So next topic will be applying the audit risk model, which we will talk in the next chapter. I hope you understood this. Grab this, digest this, and let me know if you have any comments.